If you've ever been through a natural disaster or an act of God, you're in the right place.
If you carry a firearm and discharge your weapon in self-defense, you could face hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees and expenses. So carry the protection of CCW Safe, Self-Defense Legal Services membership. Upfront payment of all criminal and civil defense costs with no out-of-pocket for members. Unlimited defense budgets, unmatched legal expertise. Carry the same level of support police officers have. Carry CCW Safe, the highest caliber.
We're doing a drug deal here underneath the...
Jay, did you find those?
No.
Oh, gosh.
They had
Maybe.
screws in them.
They better not have found
Why do you think we're so happy?
Screws? Is that what they're calling it on the streets these days?
Screws. Hardware. What's up, FTFers? I'm here with my good friend Jason, and we are up here in North Carolina. And why did we come up here, Jason?
We were delivering furniture to some people that lost pretty much everything.
Still helping with the rescue efforts up here. And you know, we're standing here by this little stream in a spot that you would definitely not have been able to be at when the disaster actually took place.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure this was way underwater.
This was way underwater at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see the lines where the water has come up.
Yeah.
And anyway, I am no stranger to disaster scenes. Mm-hmm. I've been to a bunch of them. And while we were in the car, we were talking about the difference between some of the disaster scenes, like what happened at Katrina. Mm-hmm. And y'all's experience up here was a lot different from some of the stuff that I've seen, because a lot of it is the worst of people and the best of people at the same time. It's extremes, right? So, but y'all's experience here was a little bit different than that. Mm-hmm. Y'all got to see the community come together and actually work together.
Mostly good
very
stuff.
Isolated incidents, right?
Yeah, mostly good stuff. Everybody came together. People came from all over the country to come help out. Local communities gearing up, getting out there, fixing, chainsawing, clearing roads. I mean, without any government assistance or anything.
And how
just
refreshing
taking care of it.
to,
Yeah, it was great.
to see that.
So many people just wanted to help.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you inviting me to come up. I knew for me it would actually be hard, because coming up in a situation like this, not being in a professional setting, I know was going to be difficult for me. But getting to help out with a rescue effort is a whole nother aspect of it, because you have the emergency, then you have all the stuff that you have to deal with afterwards.
Yeah.
And getting to see the joy in people's faces when we brought furniture to them, things that they were having to sleep on the floor,
right,
or on rugs.
Well, these people, so flood came, house fills with water recedes, and you think, oh, cool. No, not cool.
No, it's not even close to being over.
It's at its best at that point. Now there's this much mud in the floor of their home. The drywall has soaked up the water.
Oh my God.
And then it's a moldy, nasty, poisonous place that you cannot live in until it gets all gutted. And that's what these people's homes that we just came from.
I mean, we just came from it. You could see the water lines where the mud, they come up 6 feet on their doors.
Yeah.
You know, so what is your feeling now post the event? So, I mean, you've been coming up here, you've been helping out with the rescue efforts.
Yeah, off and on.
How satisfying is it for you now to see a lot of the stuff that has been fixed over
most
time?
Of it. So if you were here at the beginning, like right after the water went away, right after the flood receded.
Holy chaos.
You'd look at it and be like, this will never be the same.
Right.
It's going to take decades to get this back operational. But the great news is it's been 6 months, and you look around and you're like, well,
there's hope.
Yeah,
I mean, just look how green it is around us.
You
right?
can still, if you're looking, you can see it, and you can see the truck still wadded up on the riverbank and stuff. But you look around and people are going to work, going to school, doing the things. Homes have been rebuilt a lot. Not completely, obviously. Some places are just gone and not to be rebuilt again. Rivers have changed their course and crazy stuff, but people are getting their lives back.
I mean, and there's so much too. I mean, we were talking about earlier, people that didn't have flood insurance because they were in a zone that didn't need flood
they're not
insurance,
in a flood zone.
Right? They didn't think they needed that protection.
Yeah.
And then to see the community come together to help them out.
Fixed them up.
I mean, how satisfying is that?
It's awesome.
Did any of those people that you were interviewing, did they tear up
Yep, most of them.
I can tell you what's really awesome,
yeah.
a feeling that I've never had anywhere else in my entire life, is when somebody comes up and they hug you and it's genuine.
Yeah.
Like they are genuinely happy to see you
Just
and
really
thankful
grateful.
that you did whatever it was that you did, right?
As small as it may seem to you, it was big to them. Yeah.
So coming up here, seeing all this, and I've worked this area several times before, like with the North Carolina fires, for example, then to come up here and see it flooded. You know, what advice would you have for the people that are out there who want to help out in an effort? Because there's a whole nother side to that too, because once you get to a disaster zone, there's a lot of chaos that's going on. It's not like there's a guy with a megaphone and he's teling you what
There's
to
no
do.
leadership.
There is none,
Yeah.
right?
Advice.
Communications,
Yeah.
whiteboards.
Well, first develop skills. Be a useful human.
Right.
Right. Know how to do things. Yeah. If you just show up to a place and stand there, you know, twiddling your thumbs,
Right.
you're part of the problem and not part of the solution. So get some skills. Know how to do stuff. Man skills is what I would call them.
Right.
And then communication stuff. Like just the basic stuff that you wouldn't even think of, like bring a whiteboard,
Right.
And
Sign-in
some markers.
sheets,
sign-in
accountability,
sheet, a name tag,
radios.
would go so far. If you had a clipboard and a name tag, people would flock to you.
Right, they would come to you because you know what
like,
you're doing.
Like clearly you are here to
Right.
help. So things like that.
Now, one thing that I would say from being on the other side, because I was in a professional setting and we had a lot of people that wanted to come up and help, but they don't understand the dangers that are involved,
Right.
whether there's crime scenes, potential hazmat scenarios.
All of that, yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that happens, like say Legionnaires disease, for example, that happens later in life. It doesn't happen right then and there, and you don't realize the result of your actions at the time. So I would just caution you.
Yeah. Things that people don't think about is like for this example, the Earth was unstable.
Right.
So there were huge, massive landslides. Like for example, look over here on the other side of the road.
Yeah,
You
this
see that?
hill.
I'm guessing that is where the mountain just slid off the hillside there. That's probably from the storm. If I had to guess, I wasn't here, I don't know, but I'm assuming that's what it was from.
Well, you can see all the debris and the
Yeah.
trees that are leaning
But
and down at the bottom.
That didn't necessarily
which
happen.
we can't see exactly.
Yeah, that didn't
but
necessarily happen at the storm, during the time of the storm. That could have happened a week later.
afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, after the fact.
Yeah,
There's
and
a
you
lot of
wouldn't even know.
instability.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, stuff like that.
So you can get in a lot of trouble is what I'm getting at. You become part of the problem rather than part of the solution.
Right.
I would encourage you, like your group, y'all all got together, you had contacts,
Yep.
you had a mission, you had a purpose.
We didn't go out by ourselves. We always had at least two people, at least
a
two
lot of
vehicles.
accountability.
Yeah.
You've got to be accountable for your people.
Checking in, checking out.
Making sure, be careful, like with your children, for example, because there's so much for you to look at, right? There's so much going on at the same time, and you'll lose focus of the things that really matter, which is why I always say don't get monkey butt, right? If you can't take care of your own ass, you can't save somebody else's. You got to take care of your group when you go to do something like this. And also, there were a lot of lessons that y'all learned as well. Like you bring up all this stuff, right? Like the fuel gets stolen.
Yeah.
Right. You know, make sure that, you know, you're securing everything too. If you've brought stuff for the relief effort, a lot of times people will just help themselves to it.
And try to get some information beforehand on what people actually need and what actually is needed in the area, because you might deliver what you think is so important, but then you show up and there's like, I know they need generators.
Tons of it,
and then you
right.
show up and there's a sea of generators that are there, and it's not really that necessary.
And it's kind of weird for people to tell you like, no, I don't need that.
Yeah, take that
I
back.
need my medications.
Right.
I need toilet paper.
Yeah.
I need water. I need
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah, so I would say get some intel, get some information before you head into an area on what people actually need before you put resources into it.
Yeah, because people can really get their feelings hurt, right? They've invested, they've put money into whatever it is that they're
Right.
taking up, and they feel empowered, and they get here, and then bam,
Yeah.
hits them
They
straight in the
brought
face.
a trailer full of bottled water, and then when they show up, literally, this happened. People brought a trailer load of bottled water, and I've seen like a literal pyramid of bottled water because there was so
There was
much
so
of
much
it.
of it, yeah.
It's crazy.
So much excess, and a lot of times people don't have the ability to store the stuff because everything was washed away.
Yep.
Right, they aren't in their homes anymore.
Yep.
Maybe they're staying in housing,
Yep.
or they have to go to other cities to stay with relatives, and it's just complete chaos.
And it causes more problems,
Right.
like storage problems of where to put all this stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Logistics is a serious thing, and I don't think people really understand that until they've been on a scene.
We
like
collapsed the floor of a church. Not church, a community center. We collapsed the floor of a community center with bottled water
Just
and
the
Gatorade
stuff
and
that you
stuff.
brought, the extra weight,
Yep.
etc. Yeah. What other funny things did you notice while you're out there? Or
man.
stuff that the X factor, you know, I talk about all the time, like the weird thing, like the deer running out of the store that you never thought you would see.
Yeah. Oh man, off the top of my head.
So much.
Bears running down the street, or whatever it is. Wild animals in general.
Well, yeah, the kind of that kind of stuff was interesting. One of the most interesting things that I saw from this disaster was the drastic difference being on the other side of the road had. So like here's the creek. On that side of the creek, just devastation. Nothing's left. Rubble, twisted up semis, and like just like the
power of nature.
The most destructive thing that you've ever seen happened on that side of the river.
Right.
On this side of the river, Granny's out there mowing her yard,
Right.
trimming the hedges, like no problem, no destruction.
It's just wherever you point the camera.
Yeah, it was so
on
weird.
the scene.
That was really strange to see that. Yeah. Oh, one of the coolest stories. This is a good one. So we're driving through right after, a couple days after the destruction, you know, driving through, and there was what was left of a golf course. Just annihilated.
Which are always in a floodplain.
Yep, just wiped out. Nothing left of it. And as we're driving through, navigating through this rubble, you know, like the roads are gone and washed out and stuff, and we're having to 4x4 it. We're driving up, getting a little bit higher elevation. The power lines are over, and they're sagging, and we're having to like move stuff out of the way to get through. There's these two kids on the only hole left on the golf course out there playing.
On the green.
Yeah, they're out there. They're out there just swinging away. They got their clubs and everything, and they're having a great time on the only hole that's left on this.
Right.
And there's just destruction everywhere around.
But
them.
that's what you do.
And
You
they
make
were
the
having a
best of
great
what
time.
you can with what you've got
That's
at
probably
the
my
time.
favorite memory. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you got to come out here. I'm glad you got to experience that. I enjoyed listening to all the stories of y'all telling me the things that you experienced. And I could tell how much it changed your lives too, just by seeing it in your eyes,
Yeah.
right? Because if you've ever gone to one before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's profound what happens
Devastating.
to
See, we were talking about earlier. Christy was reminded me. There's one of the places we went to. I don't forget where it was. Black Mountain, I think maybe. Just everything's gone, wiped out. Down on the river bottom, and this woman's just walking, crying, like sobbing by herself, walking down the road. It's just like,
just a tearjerker.
oh
just
man, it's
tugs at your
devastating.
heart.
Yeah, it just sucks, because she, who knows? She probably lost people, lost house, lost everything, pets, like whatever. I mean, who knows what she lost? But she was just inconsolable at that moment.
Oh yeah, no. Sometimes, I talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Like you might literally just be touching them, or handing them a cup of coffee or water, or something. They need an aspirin, God knows what. But sometimes it's amazing to me. I could just be sitting there, and they would just open up and tell me their whole entire life story. Right?
Just talk to people.
Things they just need to get it out, and that's something else that I kind of wanted to talk about too. Is just because the emergency happens, you have the event, right? Then you have all the aftermath afterwards, and it's not just physical. There's a lot of psychological, emotional, spiritual, a trail, a journey that people have to make to reconcile after that. And so, a lot of people, we all process emotion differently, and it comes out at different times as well, which, having talked to a lot of the survivors from this, you sense that, you see that, they tell you about it, and it just kind of reinforces that, hey, we all need help.
Yeah.
At certain times.
At some time. Yeah, it could be you. I mean, as prepared as I am for all the things and stuff, and that's kind of my thing. That's what we do.
That's what we do.
If that amount of rainfall fell at my house, I would be in the same situation. Like I would be, everything would be gone, wiped away, and I'd be, the guy roaming the street sobbing. Like, I mean, very likely. I mean, I don't know. Like, it very easily could happen to me.
That's right, and I'm sure a lot of you have those stories. So get into the comment section. Tell us about your experiences, no matter how crazy they are. Tell us about the unique things that you saw. Tell us about seeing people come together. Tell us about things that you saw that were the worst of human nature at the same time.
Yep.
But if you're Honey Smack digging the video, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, And until next time, y'all, keep fueling those fires.
You didn't do the thing.
I know, I didn't.
You did the thing.
It was such an emotional story, I couldn't.
All right.